This isn't actually a whiteboard, it's a panel board for like the inside or outside of your house, but found in the garage, and it's dry erase. It's lighter than the chalkboard, so I think I'm gonna put it up. It's time to hang the whiteboard, but I need screws and mollies. So let's see what's in here. Two mollies. We just need some screws. Perfect. Okay, I got all this stuff. Now I just need the drill. Okay. All the machine hardware that we need and the drill. My wife's seeing a small baby. She's precious. Since there's only one of me, I'm gonna have to try to do this solo, and I can't find my level and I can't find a measuring tape. If you don't know, your phone actually has a level on it if you go to the Measure app. So let's do it. Okay. Perfect. And a drill. All mollies technically grip into the drywall, but these ones have like a specific helix that's really gonna grind in. And that's pretty important. Welcome to the Student of Everything. In this week's video, we're going to talk about steps that you could take in order to connect to that deeper part of yourself. So I'm going to draw some stuff and then we'll get back to talking. We talk about experiencing consciousness in the mind, the body, and the spirit. Gurdijieff talks about this as well, but he calls them different paths. He calls the path of the body the fakir. He calls the path of the spirit the monk, and he calls the path of the mind the yogi. He goes on to talk about how there's actually a fourth path, and that fourth path is doing all of these at the same time, right? I like to think of this as learning in a circle. If we have this is the way that we experience consciousness, let me write something else. And we have an object like this for our general knowledge, where it's math, science, music, language, lit, history. Most of the time, what happens is you get a basic education by going to public school, and you fill the square out maybe, or the thing out maybe something like this. And so this is maybe what your general knowledge looks like getting out of high school. And then let's say you go to college, and then your triangle or your graph looks like this. These are called, I think they're called radial graphs. So we can do this same sort of thing over here, but with the mind, body, spirit. And most of the time what happens is you get people like monks or priests. You get people like yogis, or I would say like some scientists could be like that. And then you get people like fakirs. Now, fakir is a Muslim word for ascetic, and an ascetic is somebody who wanders and preaches a gospel, I'm pretty sure, but they're beggars. They don't take anything, they don't work, they only ask for food, that sort of thing. I think that you could probably put bodybuilders in with these people. People that focus solely on their physical being. What are some other types of spiritual people? You could do, I mean, like I said, priests. I guess monk is a priest, but maybe priest class. What about, no, that's it. Yogis, I would say maybe some psychologist can end up in this. But anyway, so we talk about all of these different aspects that you can experience this life in. And your day to day, this might be one day you have a really good workout, but you don't think a lot, but you thought maybe, or you prayed, and you get a graph like this. Or maybe one day you don't work out, but you do a lot of thinking, and that leads you to some sort of spiritual enlightenment. You get different aspects going day to day. And Gurdijieff, he's talking about doing them all the time. So that the circle grows like this, right? So you do things of the mind, you do things of the spirit, you do things of the body, so that so that you gain a better understanding of yourself, and so that you can gain a better understanding of the universe. I like to think of it as learning in a circle, right? I don't like this sort of pointed way that we are taught. This sort of pointed way that we are taught on how to learn allows you to be a specialist in a particular area, but it deprives you maybe so severely in other aspects of your life, because you're not getting to see how the patterns of the math also line up to patterns of music, and how history seems to repeat itself, and how all of these different interconnected things, because humans are really good at taking ourselves out of the universe and making ourselves this thing that is the watcher, the observer, the guardian of the natural born universe. But the thing is that we're integrated with it. Doing things across the spectrum causes you to learn at a more fundamental level, because it shows you patterns that transcend forms. You can start to understand things just naturally and subtly. You don't have to think about them. They become just ingrained in you. I wrote in here, from the Book of Five Rings, my copy by Miyamoto Musashi. This is the one that I have. And something that he says in there, he's talking about not only having martial arts, like you're not going to be able to learn martial arts only by doing martial arts. And he says, the true science cannot be attained just by mastery of swordsmanship alone. Knowing the small by the way of the great, one goes from the shallow to the deep. What is he saying in there? He's saying that this true science, right, the feeling of true knowledge, of true being, of true understanding, does not come from only doing this martial art that he's teaching, the two swords. He says you can't learn it from that alone. And then he goes on to saying that by knowing the small by way of the great, which is to say that the one is the many and the many is the one goes from the shallow to the deep. Or you go from a base level understanding to a deeper, I guess understanding, but a deeper fundamental grasp of concepts. And those concepts, he's saying, aren't only present in martial arts, and you should see that in all things. The codes of this life are in everything. You just have to be able to interpret it. Apply the things that you know, apply the patterns that you know to the things that you want to know, and see if you can't interpret them in a new way. That's what being conscious is all about. That's what living is all about. That all aside, what else are we going to talk about? So what are some examples? What are some things that we can do for the body? I think you could go for a run. What about a swim? Do you like to bike? Do you lift? What about just a walk? Don't even have to go for a run. Crunches, push-ups, rowing. You could do, we can list an infinite amount of things that would allow you to experience this life through the body. What about the mind? What are some things that we can talk about through the mind? Meditation, like consciousness breathing, yoga, yoga. Things that are going to make you very mentally present, that you have to be right there in the moment. Cold showers, sauna, contemplation. You get it. What about spirit? Things that you can do spirit. What about praying? You could pray. Songs of worship. I don't think that songs of worship all are only hymns too. Like if you're really good at playing the piano and you love playing a certain piece, that could be your worship. Just making art, just making art. Being creative. I don't know. This one's tough for me. I think these two really easy. Obviously, I feel like I can do anything. I go run a marathon. Maybe I should run a marathon. Anyway, you can do the breathing. I can do the yoga. This one's harder for me. It's harder for me to connect to that spirit side. But it's important to do all of them and to figure out some daily habits. So in school, we did daily habits for this stuff. You had to do your times tables whenever you're in the 4th grade, and you guys did speed tests, and then you had to take reading tests on the computer, and you went to choir practice, and you had gym and history and an English professor. Like, there was a to-do list, and you marked them off. This is the same thing, but now we're not in school. We have to come up with our own school. Or you can start following schools. And the first step is to, obviously, number 1, know thyself. You have to figure out what you like. Figure out what resonates with you, If you really like heavy metal music and you're like, man, every time that bass comes in, I'm like, I gotta get behind them licks, dude. You go out, get yourself a bass guitar, start practicing them licks. See if you got the chops, homie. I can't tell you what you like or don't like. You have to figure it out yourself, and for that, you have to contemplate yourself, and you have to be alone with yourself, and it can't be on drugs or alcohol. Maybe it could be on some drugs. Do some serious reflection, number 1. Number 2, you have to build discipline. That's number 2. And we've talked about this before, but it's a 4-step process in my mind. Number 1 is showing up. Number 2 is becoming consistent. Number 3 is gain discipline and then grow that discipline. You show up and you become consistent. All of a sudden you realize that you have discipline and you gain a little bit of discipline. And there's small nuggets of discipline. And it feels weird. You're like, why did I get here? Why am I here? Oh my God, I'm doing it without thinking about doing it. I've built the thing. And so once you have that little bit, you already know then. You know the other steps. And so you start to grow it. And once you start to grow, that's whenever you really start to learn. So, build discipline and then grow. Or learn. Learn where you can fit in the things that you want to do that will feed the mind, that will feed the spirit, and that will feed the body. Where in your schedule can you meditate? Is it a 9 a.m. meditation session? And then you have to, at 5 p.m., you read for an hour. And then right before you go to bed at 10, you do a little prayer. That's the 4th path. That's what Gurdijieff was saying. He was saying it's that easy to connect to your soul. But if you want to grow it deeper, you have to continue to learn about and push yourself further into these opposites, these two sides of you, and merge them. Gurdijieff is talking about it as like a triangle and it becoming a circle that you grow outwards with, that you're doing all of them and you slowly spiral out and you grow and you grow and you grow. Jung at one point talks about it like this. He's saying there's a dark side of you and a light side of you, and that they come together so that they can be whole. I think this is pretty much all that I wanted to talk to you about in this second part of Gemini. With Cancer coming up, we are going to talk about integrating all of the things that I've been talking about for the past 3 months into a cohesive schedule for me to do what Gurdijieff is saying, do the fourth path, do that circular learning that I have been talking about, and build the mind, the body, and the spirit so that I can gain a deeper understanding of the universe by knowing myself and by knowing the many. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. One last thing. I started a Substack. So I've written entries for Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. Cancer will be coming out soon. And then every day I'm just going to write little excerpts about whatever book I'm listening to, whatever ideas I've been thinking about, what kind of dreams I had, what kind of art I'm making, whatever. It's just going to be all out there. I think every day I'm going to upload something on there to try to get these fingers used to typing some words for people to read. So it might not all be good. It might be all over the place. I hope that you can extract the nuggets, though. That's what Student of Everything is about. It's about this right here. Rick Rubin's book, The Creative Act, A Way of Being. He says, nothing in this book is known to be true. It's a reflection on what I've noticed, not facts so much as thoughts. Some ideas may resonate, others may not. A few may awaken an inner knowing you forgot you had. Use what's helpful, let go of the rest. Each of these moments is an invitation to further inquire, looking deeper, zooming out or in, opening possibilities for a new way of being. That's Student of Everything. That's it. So cut the wheat from the chaff, extract the nuggets of gold, use what you can. And if it helps you, it helps you. Thank you for watching. My name is Tristan Zoll. We'll see you next time.